Alright, 9.1 is surface area of prisms. It says to find the surface area of prisms, you have to find the sum of the areas of the bases and the faces. Basically, you have to find all the way around the outside of a prism. There is a formula here you can go by. There's going to be two of each thing. What I mean by that is you're going to have, if you take a look at this object, you're going to have a top and a bottom, and they're going to be identical. Here, this has been opened into what's called a net. I like to use this more than trying to figure it out this way. If you open it up, you can kind of use your imagination. You know, you got two sides here, this side and this side, so that's what those are. You got a top and a bottom. They call them two tops, this and this. And then you got a front here and then a back here. So there's the front, there's the front. Front and the back, they're going to be identical. So that's why you can do length times width times 2, because you're going to have two sides. You're going to have a top and a top, and you're going to have a front and a front. So you're going to have two of each, so that's why they say 2 times each one of those, if you want to use a formula. I myself, I'm just going to look at the two sides here. They're going to be identical, which is 5 times 6. So I'm going to write 30 and 30, because that's the area of the two sides. The tops, this was my sides here. The tops, again, are going to be identical. This is 5. And this thing is, as it says, 10, so that's 50 and 50. And then I've got two fronts, which is 6 here, and it's still going to be 10 here, so it's 60 and 60. So those are the areas of each one of those rectangles. And then when all I have to do then is just add the whole thing up, and I would get 280. Sorry, kind of running out of room here. 280. And it's a area, so it's meters squared. You got to square when you talk about areas. So kind of a lot there, but just follow along. And if you do each rectangle, it really isn't too bad. Another example here, and again, you can do this a lot of different ways. I myself, I don't use the formula. I just go ahead and I understand I have a top and I have a bottom. They're going to be identical. I'm going to have a left side and I'm going to have a right side. And then I'm going to have a front and I'm going to have a back. The top is going to be this object right here. It's going to be the same thing as the bottom, and that's 3 by 5, which 3 times 5 obviously is 15, so I'm going to have 15 and 15. The left and the right, let me kind of clean this up. The left and the right is this big one right here, and that's 5 by the height of 6, so it's 5 times 6, which is going to be 30. Add 30 to that. And then the front is 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 3 is 18. And then obviously the same thing here for the back of 18. Again, once you get to that point, all you have to do is add the whole thing up. And when I do so, I am going to get 126. And again, I have to label. It's inches, and all areas always are squared, so it's 126 inches squared. Alright, we now have a triangular prism, so it's a little different. We've taken the object and obviously opened it up into a net right here. We have 3 rectangles, number 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 triangles, one on the top, one on the bottom. Again, all you got to do is go ahead and basically figure out the area of each object, each rectangle I should say in this case. This is 3, and this is 6, so that makes this 6. So the first one there is going to be 18. 6 times 3 is 18. You can do this a lot of different ways, but this is how I'd go about doing it. I think it's pretty simple. It's very important to be organized and make sure you're getting each side. 5 times 6 would be 30. And then this one is 4 times 6, so that would be 24. That is the area of each rectangle there. We now have a triangle. Now, the formula for a triangle, the area that is 1/2 base times height. You can go ahead and do that. 3 times 4 is 12, and half of that would be 6. Well, if this one's 6, this one would be 6, so it would be obviously times 2, so it would be 12, and then you would add that together. You technically could take the two triangles and put them together to make a rectangle. which was 3 by 4, and if you multiply these two things together, you would get 12 as well. So be careful doing that, because the triangles might not always match up together, but technically the two triangles would add up together to make a rectangle there. Again, all you got to do once you get to this point is go ahead and add them together, and when I do that, I'd get 84. And again, we've got a label. This is in meters, and it's an area, so I have to square it, so 84 meters squared. Last example problem I'm going to go through with you is the surface area of this cube. Again, we have a front, we have a back, we have a left, we have a right, we have a top, we have a bottom. Each one of these, because it's a cube, I know is 12 by 12, so I'm going to multiply 12 by 12, and I'm going to get 144. I'm going to kind of cheat here. I know that I'm going to have 6 sides. Again, if you don't follow that, we have a top, we have a bottom, we have a left, we have a right, we have a front, we have a back. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to multiply then the 144 times 6, and I'm going to get 864. And again, I've got a label, meters, and that is squared. You can kind of cheat just because every one is going to be identical there, so you don't need to go through the process of each one of those, and that gets you 864 meters squared. Alright, practice problem, actually 2 of them for you. First one here, find the surface area of a rectangular prism. I gave you obviously a prism for reference here. Length of 6 yards, obviously that makes this 6 yards. The width is going to be 4 yards, and your height is 9 yards. Make sure you label when you are done with that. This one here is a triangular prism. Again, be careful with the triangular. You do have 2 triangles you have to account for when you do that. For sides, you're only going to have this front here, and then this one in the back, and then this one on the side. So there's only 3 faces, and then you have a top and a bottom triangle. Good luck. I hope you followed along. I know it's kind of complicated and kind of messy to follow along on the screen here, but we'll practice and go over more of this tomorrow. Have a good night.